Nicky had a way of turning Michael on, even while wearing yellow rubber gloves and an oversized Buccaneers t-shirt. So what if her amber eyes flashed with bleach-induced craziness? That was part of her charm. Michael stubbornly stuck with his just friends facade, while underneath it all he couldn't deny that sizzle. "This place still feels contaminated," Nicky said. She stood in her kitchen, gripping a wet sponge in one dripping yellow-gloved hand. Michael leaned against the wall, straight-faced because even cracking a smile would likely earn him a slap. He said, "It smells like a truckload of Clorox exploded in here." "I've scrubbed everything twice," Nicky said, "not counting the cleaning you and I did before I moved back in, but I can still smell him." "Does he smell like bleach?" "No, but keep it up and you will. The best forensic team in the country wouldn't be able to find a trace of that guy in here." Nicky dropped the sponge in the bucket and pulled off her gloves. She said, "But I know he was here, touching everything, breathing my air." Michael stepped closer and wrapped his arms around Nicky. A loose ponytail held her long, deep brown hair away from her face, though a few stray strands had managed to free themselves to caress her cheeks. Golden highlights shimmered in the stream of sunlight coming in through a window. The faint scent of her perfume managed to capture him through the haze of bleach. As always, Michael's body reacted despite his mind's protests. Michael did his best to ignore the desire that always came with being close to Nicky. He said, "It's been 3 weeks." "I know," Nicky said. "I'm being stupid. I can't help it." Having someone break into your apartment, rip the place apart, hide out there, then drag you outside in an attempt to kidnap, gang rape, and kill you would make most anyone behave a little nuts. Thinking about how close Nicky had come to death still made his stomach clench. He said, "You're safe now." "Thanks to you," Nicky replied. She planted a kiss on Michael's cheek, then spun on her bare toes, doing a little twirl before heading toward the refrigerator. "Which brings me back to my earlier proposition. Have you thought about it?" Michael shook his head. "I already told you. The answer's no." "So you haven't thought about it then. Want a root beer or a water? I bought you Perrier." "You're trying to bribe me with water." "Desperate measures." "I'll take the water," Michael said. "But the answer's still no." Nicky handed Michael a bottle of Perrier and opened a root beer for herself. "We'd make great partners," she said. "No." "I could be an asset. I still have connections on the street, and back when I was in the business, a local cop was one of my regulars. I'm sure he'd rather provide me with occasional information than have his captain find out he was paying for sex." "Nicky." "And I've even come up with a name for our business." Michael sank onto one of the kitchen chairs. He put his Perrier bottle on the table and rubbed his hands over his face. "We have no business for you to name," he said into his palms. "Lost and found," Nicky said. She plopped onto a chair beside him, grinning like a happy child. Whether her happiness came from the concept of running a business together or from tormenting him was hard to tell. Probably a little of both. Despite his resistance, Michael found himself saying, "Lost and found." "Catchy, don't you think?" Nicky replied. "We'll be a place where people go to find someone they've lost, a missing family member, a runaway kid, things like that. The cops don't do much in those situations, so we'd find them. Hence, lost and found." "That's what PIs are for." "Sure, private investigators do that too, but we'd be better at it because we wouldn't be constrained by all the nuisance laws that licensed investigators have to follow. It would be our specialty." "Our specialty," Michael said. "Now you're catching on," Nicky replied with a wink. "No." "Then, of course, there'd be the other side of the business." "Other side?" Yeah, like you do now, but you'd have me to help you.